Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to stop in and kind of do a quick flip through of what I've done so far on my Scotland album. This is a 6x8 pocket page album. I took the trip in April of this year, and so I've been working on this kind of in bits and pieces since I've been back. And originally, I thought I was going to do a 12x12 album. Decided not to, went with this format instead. So it's also been a little bit of a challenge because I'm not as familiar with working with 6x8 pocket pages. I've done some, but this is probably my biggest project to date will be this trip, and then I think I'm going to have to go into another one of these to do Iceland, which was the second part of that trip. And then I've already done a traveler's notebook from the London portion of my trip, and that's in a video on my channel if you want to check that out too. So let's look at Scotland so far. So this is my opening page. This was taking the train from London into Scotland. And I tried to use kind of some different cards than I normally would just to spice it up a little bit since it is a travel themed album, which is my favorite. I love it. And I just wanted it to be a little bit more modern looking, a little bit more contemporary looking. So I hope that that comes across. Like these, I love all these. I tend to be somebody that likes a more muted color palette. It's not that I don't like the bright colors, I just don't tend to use them a lot. So I really wanted to try to bring in some brighter pops of color. So I was very happy with the way this one turned out. And then anything from the trolley, we were joking about that on the train because they actually come around and say that just like in the Harry Potter movies. This was a fun layout to do again because I did get to use some bright color. Got to use this yellow, and it just happened to work that we could see this out the train window, and it was yellow. And then with these buildings lit up at night, this one had a very yellow cast to it with the lights on. So it kind of, made it pretty easy for me that I didn't have to coordinate too much because it already matched. And then this layout is from, so we got into, I'm going to back up a little bit here. We got into Edinburgh about, I think it was 9:30 at night, 9:30, somewhere in there, having been up like all day. So I kind of skipped once we checked into our hotel, and so this is the next morning at breakfast. And we don't have this brand in the United States, at least I haven't seen it, so I'm like, well, I have to take a picture of that. It's not something we see at home all the time. And of course, whenever I travel, I have to take a picture of money. And even though I've been to the UK before, had to do it again. And then we started our first morning walking around Edinburgh. And then we did the hop on, hop off bus, which you can see here. And so I just wanted to put in lots of different pictures of all of the architecture that we saw while we were there because the buildings are so incredibly beautiful. We both said we just loved immersing ourselves in that architecture and the history. We don't have buildings like this in the United States. We're not old enough. So like this is just absolutely stunning. So I want to make sure that I got some pictures of that, and then it helped that there were some red elements here, and so it made it easy to choose what I was going to bring that together with by picking out red elements. Another gorgeous building. Here I just stapled a little tag on there, which was super easy. And this is kind of hard to read, but it says X marks the spot because Waverley Bridge is where the hop on, hop off bus starts and stops in Edinburgh. So if you can find the bridge, you're good to go. And it just happened that our hotel was like 2.5 to 3 blocks off of the bridge, so it made it really easy for us to get started. Our first major stop was the Scott Memorial for Sir Walter Scott, the writer. And so we spent some time walking around there. And then there happened to be a young man doing bagpiping right out front. So that was kind of cool to be able to walk by and hear him playing. And he was actually, doing pretty well given how young he was. And more pictures of the memorial. When we got up close to it, first of all, the scale is massive, way bigger than I thought it was before I got there. And then I wanted to get some detail shots because there was so much incorporated into this memorial. It's almost overwhelming when you're looking at it because there's so much intricacy there. And so if you're not willing to spend a lot of time, you're going to miss a lot of those details. So we took our time around here. So this is just a long view looking at his statue with a clock tower in the background. There's a close-up of him. And I felt that card was fitting since he was a writer. And so this one I just did a video on the other day when I finished this layout. So kind of our last pictures of the Scott Monument, and this is another statue that's on the grounds there. And then we were moving away onto some other things away from Prince's Street Gardens where this is located. More architecture shots, again, tons and tons of pictures of buildings, but they're so gorgeous. I mean, how can you not? And I do have a video for this layout on my channel as well. And anything with a 2x2 pocket is always more of a challenge for me. So if you struggle with that too, take a look at that video. The only thing I changed here after I had the video done was I did decide to stamp on here. I had thought about it during the video, but then didn't actually do it because I thought maybe I needed that blue sky kind of undisturbed. But then the longer it sat, I thought, no, it's too blank. So I did stamp that on there. And I used Stays On for that because this was a glossy finish. And then this one I actually just finished. It's kind of hard to see, but it says Old Calton Burial Ground. So this is when we first entered. So it's very cool to see all the old tombstones. They're very dated. There's moss growing because it rains a lot there. So there's moss growing on everything. And this was interesting because this is a monument to Scottish American soldiers who died during the Civil War. They all fought for the North. And so there's a very nice memorial here with President Lincoln. And then there's a little thing down here that says that it's in honor of Scottish American soldiers. And then I also have a video on my channel of this layout as well. This is when we found the tomb of the philosopher David Hume, which I didn't know was there. So that was unexpected. This one actually has a flip on it where you can see more about his gravestone there. And then I journaled. Sorry, we've got a little glare from the light there. And then this is another one from Old Calton, but I just finished this one as well. So there's not a video for this one. And I liked all the green in it. I'm still not completely sold on how bright this green is in the background, but it works with these photos. So I'm going to leave it. Trying to, get into that brighter color. So even though I may not be 100% comfortable with it, I'm going to leave it. And I figured since we were in Scotland, plaid and patterns are big. So I just happened to find a piece of scrap paper that had that pattern, got lucky and thought, all right, well, I'm going to use it then. This is also a newer one. There is not a process video for this one on my channel. This is the Writers' Museum in Edinburgh. And it features Robert Burns, Sir Walter Scott, and Robert Louis Stevenson. So those three are the main focus. I heard that previously they had an exhibit that was all about J.K. Rowling because she wrote all the Harry Potter novels in Scotland and Hogwarts is in Scotland. That was not there when we were there, sadly. I would have loved to have seen that, but maybe they'll bring it back at some point. That might be a reason to go back to Scotland. So I just did some word stickers here. This is a puffy sticker. Did some stamping, put some tags or labels on. This one was pretty easy. This is another one that I finished recently, and I don't think I did a video on this one. No, I didn't. And this one was kind of unusual for me because it pulled out this coral color, which I don't use a lot, but I happen to have two labels in that color. And they worked to bring it all together because here's a little bit here. This building was actually flying the Irish flag, which has a little orange in it, so it works with that coral color. And then this little bit of this more modern building next to this really old building. But I thought, well, that would work as the accent color. And again, I don't want everything gray and blue and brown, so the coral helps. And then I do have a process video on this one. I did it just a couple days ago. Shocking, more buildings around Edinburgh. So you can see all of these in that video. And then this one also has an insert. That's a wood veneer there. This is puffy sticker and just some enamel dots here. Didn't do anything really to these photos, so that was super easy. And then we move on to St. Giles. This is this cathedral here. I kind of wanted this on the left-hand page, but it didn't work out because when you're using pocket pages, you're at the mercy of what you've done kind of on the layout before. So I had to make these work. So I would have liked these switched, but I think it works the way it is. It's all right. So here's the welcome sign when you come in. This was just a piece of artwork kind of that was in there, some metal work. And I just thought the inserts on these were gorgeous. So these pictures, actually, they have extra glare because they have a metallic finish. I really wanted those colors to pop and be exciting once they were behind the page protector. So these have a metallic finish as well as the sheen from the protector. And orange is kind of hard to match sometimes, so I got lucky that I had this. And I liked this one. I had originally printed this as a 5x7, thinking I was going to do a 12x12 layout. Since that didn't happen, I did have to cut a little bit off the sides to make that fit, but I think it still works well. And then this is the last layout that I have complete so far for Edinburgh. So these were just some flags that were posted inside the cathedral. And just some close-ups of different things here. I thought this was interesting because if you look real closely at the top of this, there is a cross there. And this rub-on, I actually got these from a friend. I didn't have any, and she was willing to let me take them, so I did. So these are all rub-ons. And then there was a very nice statue in part kind of on the side of the cathedral of John Knox, the famous Scottish preacher. So I put him in there too. So that's it so far. I'm probably about maybe halfway through Edinburgh. This may seem like a lot, but I'm only halfway. And then I have a couple layouts done already for Glasgow because I kind of skipped ahead. I had things that would work with them, and so I just wanted them done. But I'm not going to show them here because I will wait until Glasgow is all done before I do that. So hope you enjoy seeing what I've done so far, and thanks for watching.